Alright, hello, greetings and welcome everyone to this news video. I am the Ninjaneer, and let's go ahead and jump right into the topics for today. Sandy Monroe visits Aptera. Aptera on the NYSE, or New York Stock Exchange. Aptera was in Detroit for the Automotive USA event. Aptera, the rear view. An Aptera email. Aptera breaks. Aptera is currently at Visioneering. Aptera in the news. A shiny Aptera has appeared. Things that made me go, huh? And things I liked. Let's get started. So Aptera showed this teaser of Sandy Monroe coming to visit the Aptera facility, and even in just the little snippet that they showed, there were a couple of things that were really cool about it, so if you haven't already watched it, please do. Sandy Monroe also promised that he's going to be doing his own set of videos on, own video or set of videos about his trip to Aptera, so stay tuned for that, and yeah man. Chris Anthony took to the New York Stock Exchange floor to talk about the Aptera, probably in preparation for Aptera's eventual IPO when they start delivering their first vehicles. It was a pretty good interview. It was a fairly short interview, as you can see, and had a couple of little things in there that were pretty fun to listen to, so check that out if you have the time. Aptera was at the Automotive USA 2024 event in Detroit. I do not know exactly what happened there because I have not had the opportunity to catch up on the YouTube coverage or anybody else's coverage of this event. I will probably put some links of stuff that I find in the description later on after I get done editing this video, so yeah. So Jason Hill posted a picture of the Aptera from the rear without the wheel pant on it, and you can see this protrusion here that probably is where the wheel pant will mount, the rear wheel housing will mount onto the Aptera, so it's pretty cool. I did not expect the structure to be that scarce, that small, but it does make sense. Under the pretext that Aptera is trying to be as efficient and lightweight as possible, it doesn't make sense to put a huge structure there and add unnecessary weight. Aptera did send out a really cool email about the Aptera Accelerator Delivery Update. You may remember last week I talked about the fact that some folks were talking about how their delivery date had changed. So Aptera sent out an email that addressed that issue and made sure that people understood why the changes happened and what changes may occur in the future. Aptera is looking real good. So it's looking real good. It's looking real. This picture was posted by Aptera Motors of the brake caliper and the rotor and the wheel mounting area. I believe they're going to be using oh goodness, what are those things called? Wow. They're going to be using bolts, there you go, to attach the wheels to the Aptera. You can see the components for some of the steering stuff and whatnot under there. Let me see if there's other pictures, if I can scroll to the next one. There we go. Now there's a close-up of all that jazz, the CV joint and such. Yeah man, it's pretty cool to see that stuff coming through and seeing how they kind of designed it to be as small and round as possible so that the air can pass over it easier. I wonder how this is going to affect aerodynamics, quite frankly, because I believe they were saying 0.13 drag coefficient, but I remember seeing a little bit later on that they said something to the effect, that they were implying something to the effect of 0.15 drag coefficient, so I'm wondering if that 0.15 is now the result of these components not being part of the actual hub, but being in the, basically having to stretch the power from the vehicle itself out to the wheel instead of having the power and the wheel together in the hub motor. And then there's a picture of the wheel on the actual axle and whatnot for the Aptera. So yeah, they're just showing steady and amazing progress as we get closer to a hopeful reveal. Like I said, I would like them to reveal it at the end of October because that would be really awesome, and it looks like they're on the track to do that, but it could also be mid-November, late November, sometime like that as well, if they have a bunch of little issues to iron out, kinks to figure out as far as putting the vehicle together, which I do anticipate them to have some growing pains, some issues, some unexpected difficulties. So yeah, I would like to see October, late October, maybe the very beginning of November, but I'm not expecting anything until mid to late November. So we'll see if they prove me wrong. I hope they prove me wrong. Please do that. Yeah, okay. Aptera is currently at Visioneering 2024 to celebrate the X Prize's 30th anniversary. This event is happening in Los Angeles. If you guys have the time and inclination to go down that way, this is a thing that is happening. It looks really awesome, and the website was really cool, so I put this post here, and the post does not have a link to the actual website, so I might put the website in my description as well. There was a CBS News report on the Aptera for the Bay Area. Basically, they did a little blurby spot situation, a 2-minute video on the Aptera. It was a very well put together video, and it was fun to watch. Yeah, man, I love the exposure that Aptera is getting. I hope that that exposure spreads out to the rest of the country and people start realizing that Aptera is about to change the world. So while at the Visioneering event, it started yesterday, they showed off a golden colored Aptera. My thought process is this is the gold coloring that they're going to put on the UAE launch edition. So that's looking pretty cool there. Also, I wonder, like, people were speculating that this was like the PI build or something like that. I don't think that is the case. It looks like this is just the Gamma with a gold wrap on it, which would not surprise me because, like I said, I don't expect to see their PI build until mid-ish November. So I'm gonna go ahead and if you're wondering who the guy is that's sitting in this seat here, he is the person who started the X Prize. So yeah, he's sitting in the Aptera and having himself a grand old time apparently. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure you guys knew who he was. Yeah, so for things that make me go, huh? There's a bunch of folks that are now trying to sell their Aptera model. The most expensive of which was $9,990. It's pretty ridiculous. Resellers, man. Anyway, yeah, so $9,000 here, $5,000 here, $1,200 here. People are selling their Aptera launch vehicle models, the 1/18 scale models, for exorbitant prices. The lowest that I saw was $350. So yeah, that's a thing that's happening. It was kind of inevitable. It makes sense because that's what happens. Some people just buy the thing in order to sell the thing, and yeah, it's a whole thing. It's an industry or something. Now, the first thing that I liked today was a video by the Everything Electric show interviewing Jim Farley, who is the CEO of Ford. I am becoming increasingly impressed with how aware he seems to be of where Ford is and where they need to go. This interview kind of reaffirms some of that. I will say that some of his statements were a little bit concerning from the perspective of being forward-thinking when it comes to an automobile company, in my opinion, but I'll let you guys go ahead and watch through that interview to kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about there. Long story short, America has a ways to go to catch up to everybody else, and the longer we wait, the more likely it is that other countries are going to just sell everything to us, and we're not going to be making anything of our own with respect to the EV industry, or rather, not making nearly as much as we could. Tesla is doing a great job leading the way. Hyundai is getting much better. They're starting to sell a lot more. Chevy's starting to sell a lot more. Ford is starting to sell a lot more. The market is starting to really heat up. And yeah, I know that that is a thing that's happening, but we are still, depending on who you ask, between 5 and 10 years behind, except for like Tesla, I think. Yeah. Anyway. So for the second thing that I like this week, a very charming and hilarious video from Transport Evolved, where they talk about a couple of different battery breakthroughs that have happened in the recent past. I was going to talk about them in my video, but I think they do a much better job of explaining it, so I will defer you to their video in order to get the lowdown on a couple of new, very interesting technologies that are trying to make themselves known in the mass-produced product style situation that is the automobile industry. So yeah, stay tuned for advancements in those technologies. Assuming that they hit the market and are actually viable and can be scaled to production, I will be covering them a lot more in the future. Alright, that'll be it for this news video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am the Ninjaneer. If you would, please go ahead and do those YouTube-y things, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll catch you next time.